Okay, all right. Hi, everyone, again. Thank you all for waiting. Looks like we're about 20 right now, and so why don't we just get started? We just wanted to say thank you again for taking the time to join us on this Tech Undivided application FAQ webinar. My name is Lisa Shi, and I'm the programs manager here at ventureLAB.
And hello, everyone. My name's Harman Guriwal, and I'm the Director of Partnership Operations.
Okay, awesome. Perhaps somebody could just give us a note whether you're able to kind of hear us properly. How's the volume?
Yeah.
Before we get started. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Sharon. I guess actually before we get started, just a few housekeeping notes. As we're expecting around 30 people, if you could please make sure to just keep your videos off. This will be less disruptive for the group. We've also muted everyone to better manage the session, but you're more than welcome to leverage the chat function to send us your questions throughout the presentation. Our team will then be able to kind of review and compile the questions to be addressed one by one towards the end. And with that said, here's a quick agenda for today. For those of you who are not as familiar with ventureLAB or our ecosystem, we'll be providing a quick overview on who we are and then going into the specifics of the Tech Undivided program. And of course, dedicating a significant portion at the end to answer any questions you may have pertaining to the program. So ventureLAB, we are the leading technology hub here in York Region, which is actually Canada's second largest tech cluster. And our mission is to grow globally competitive tech titans that are built to scale right here in Canada. Since our inception in 2011, we have supported over 2,000 tech companies and entrepreneurs, and then has helped more than 100 companies raise over 100 million collectively in public and private investments, and has created more than 3,500 jobs. In terms of our innovation hub, we're actually located on the first floor of IBM Canada's headquarters, which is a 50,000 square foot facility, currently home to over 45 tech companies and innovation partners, and continues to welcome over 7,000 visitors annually. In terms of the companies that we're looking to support, we're mainly focused on supporting ventures at the growth stage, focusing on a few key sectors, which is hardware and enterprise software, digital health, advanced manufacturing, as well as fintech. And we have a number of core programs designed to provide support in the critical pillars of capital, talent, technology, and customers. And here is essentially an overview of our current program offerings. As mentioned earlier, the majority of our clients are at the growth stage, and hence we've designed a number of our core programs to provide extensive support and tailored business advisory to those at this stage. Beyond that, we do offer some earlier stage programming, as well as leveraging the extended network to provide additional scale-up support to those on a rapid growth trajectory. For today, as the focus is on the Tech Undivided program, we would not be going into the specifics of each, but we have included our program page link down at the bottom here for those interested in learning more. And with that, I'll be passing it over to Harman to give us an overview of this new funding initiative and program.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. So thank you everyone again for joining us today on the webinar. We've been very humbled at the amount of responses that we've been getting about the program since we launched. A lot of people have been pouring in, figuring out how they can provide their support, how they can get involved, and in terms of just getting involved at the programming level as well. So we're really excited to get started today. So really quickly, I just wanted to go over the context of what Tech Undivided is and where we got the funding from, and what is kind of the Government of Canada's strategy for all of this. So we're gonna go first by showing you a quick video by the Honorable Mary Ng, Minister of Small Business and Export Promotion. It's really quick, and it'll give just a quick overview of what is the Women's Entrepreneurship Strategy.
It has a plan for putting more women in business. It's called the Women Entrepreneurship Strategy, and it's going to double the number of women-owned businesses in Canada by 2025. We're supporting women entrepreneurs like you with investment capital, advice, and help in reaching new markets. We're putting nearly $2 billion behind this strategy to help you achieve your business goals. Whether you're starting a new business, looking to grow an existing one, or making the jump to exporting, we can help. Explore this website, find out more about the programs we offer, and apply today. Because when women succeed, everyone succeeds.
All right. I hope everyone heard that. So as Minister Mary Ng mentioned, the government of Canada has a national strategy where they allocated $2 billion, which they further allocated to organizations that will be running women's entrepreneurship programs at a national level. ventureLAB was entrusted with carrying out that objective for the York region, and for all of our clients within the GTA. Yeah, so our objective is with Tech Undivided is essentially to create an inclusive tech ecosystem that is not biased or divided by gender. As it stands today, women leaders in tech companies are underrepresented, receiving insufficient access to capital, facing challenges when pitching to investors due to a more conservative and pragmatic approach, and lacking access to experienced industry mentors and business advisors. So while the list above isn't inclusive of all the complications, we do believe that there is a lot of untapped potential for creating systems that build diversity, equity, and inclusion for female leadership in the tech sector. And our objective is simply to level the playing field and making sure that there are always equal opportunities for women in tech by focusing on creating an open dialogue and educating everyone across all platforms. So the team that is going to be supporting all the entrepreneurs and individuals involved in Tech Undivided are broken down into two specific areas. We have our programs team, which will be planning, executing, delivering the 6-month cohort-based programming. That will be led by Lisa Shi, Manager of Programs, and Christy Kiatipis, who is our programs coordinator. And then we'll have a portion of the Tech Undivided program that will be the Strategic Mentorship Network. And the goal of the Strategic Mentorship Network is simply to curate a community of mentors, advisors, top tier industry experts who can essentially be that gateway or that access point for everyone when it's like knowledge sharing, skills development, and opening doors to further connections and opportunities for business growth. So that's going to be led by Wei Guo, Manager of Partnerships, and Deborah Adebayo, who is our Partnerships Coordinator. And then leading all of this will be me, Harman Gerwal, Director of Partnership Operations. So really quickly, I just wanted to go over what are the benefits of being involved in a program like this. So for anyone who doesn't know, Tech Undivided is a 6-month program. Our first cohort will begin in February and it will end in July. We're going to be selecting up to 5 applicants for the first cohort. And the goal of the program is to use these 6 months to provide you with these 5 core benefits. And so our advisory ecosystem, which is our first one, will provide access to in-house and external strategic mentors with years of specialized experience in scaling technology companies and navigating sector-specific markets. Our knowledge and skills development will include monthly skills building workshops, exclusive one-on-ones, and founder-only meetups. Access to customers are opportunities to connect with potential customers and explore collaborative initiatives, which can include initial pilots and technical demonstrations. Access to investors are opportunities to pitch to relevant investors and, if appropriate, support through our ventureLAB capital investment program. And then our thought leadership and networking benefit, which is essentially to go beyond our technical and business support and address the challenges of women in tech by curating a supportive and interactive community focused on equality, open dialogue, and overcoming obstacles. So that might be a lot to consume, but the main points that we want to kind of strive um, to communicate is essentially our focus on creating a program where we're curating the types of individuals who are willing to, first of all, make women in tech and increase representation and help in terms of the skills development and the access to funding a priority on their list of to-dos. And not only is it a priority on their list, but they have the skills, they have the experience to help you take your company from an MVP in a product to something that is investment ready in the future. And at the same time, we understand that going through the journey of entrepreneurship is not easy. So we want to focus on this aspect where we're going to be creating a format for peer-to-peer support and peer groups that meet at a consistent level, where you can essentially know that there is this space where you have like-minded entrepreneurs who are going through the journey with you, and you can almost treat it like its own mastermind group where you celebrate together and you get through your hard times together and you learn from one another and you try to help one another. At the same time, pitching is very important, and it's a very crucial skill. So when I mentioned the capital investment program, our focus there is to help you on your pitching skills, helping you with your pitch deck, and then when the time is right, putting you in front of investors that we feel like there is a strong fit, right? And then last but not least, we're going to be having our own demo day. So at the end of each cohort, we want to be able to put you on a stage, put you on a platform, have you present to external stakeholders that are comprised of multinational organizations, investment communities, other entrepreneurs, so that not only can you showcase what it is that you've built and what it is that you're trying to do, but we can get as much opportunity literally thrown at you at one time. And then I also want to mention the Strategic Mentorship Network, which is our ecosystem that's focused on providing support and developing relationships that are not only going to last just the 6 months, but we hope that will continue to be of value to you through your journey overall. Okay. So with that, what is the key eligibility criteria? So we want high growth potential companies with a minimum viable product that are in pilot or with initial market traction, a driven, coachable, and collaborative leadership team consisting of a female founder or co-founder and at least one full-time employee. You must have a business CRA number, be incorporated in Canada, and willing to spend 2 days a week at ventureLAB for the duration of the program. So when we say flexible, we want to highlight that. So with the program, everyone will get 2 free workstations at ventureLAB. So should you need space to work, then what we're saying is that we'd like you to at least use those workstations 2 days a week. If you're someone that does not need space to work out of, our expectation is that you will still come for the programming elements of Tech Undivided. So these are the workshops, the one-on-ones, your check-ins with your dedicated advisors. That is the level of engagement that we want to see on that end. Now I'm going to pass it over to Lisa to talk about the application process.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Harmon. I guess we'll just kind of go into the specifics a little bit because there was some kind of confusion around this. And so we really look at kind of the application process as a simple 3-step. And so if you are new to ventureLAB, meaning you have not yet registered with us previously, the first step would be to complete the general registration, which could be found on our apply page on the website. If, however, you've been part of the ecosystem for some time or have completed a registration previously, you may simply proceed to step 2, which is filling out the specific application for Tech Undivided. I guess we'll be able to kind of show you guys quickly on the main page here. If you go to our website, as you can see, this is kind of the ventureLAB main homepage. Under what we offer, you'll be able to find the specific programs that we offer, as well as some of the, I guess, kind of the signature programs that have been announced during the summer. And on the Tech Undivided, give me 1 second. Hi, everyone. Just making sure you guys are able to hear us. If somebody could just give us a shout in the chat, that would be great. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much. Thank you. Yeah, so this is kind of just our main Tech Undivided page. A lot of the information Harmon has talked about. Thank you, everybody. Will be also found on here, as well as an extensive FAQ page. So if you do have any questions pertaining to that, this will be a good section to kind of go through. But then again, we do have, we'll actually include it, if it's not already on this page, we have included our email at the end of this presentation deck, which will be circulating to everybody at the end of the session. And we'll include the webinar link to basically access this file as well. And if you go on kind of the main page, you'll be able to access through the main apply button there. Yeah, and as kind of noted on here, application period is currently open and will be due to close on December 1st. To answer one of the questions, we will be accepting 5 companies through this initial cohort. Yeah, but please feel free to kind of type it out, and we'll be able to go through all of these at the end of the session.
Okay, so we'll get into the Q&A shortly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, please feel free to send in your questions now.
For sure.
So then thank you, Lisa, for the application process.
Yeah, I just want to kind of go back to this. As we kind of talked about, with filling out the online application, that's really kind of essentially the first step. And based on that application, we'll then be able to, select a number of companies and shortlisting them to invite them in for review panel, which will be just a deeper dive presentation to our review committee. And then this way we could better evaluate on the companies that we're admitting to the program. And, so definitely it would be in your best interest to be as clear, concise, and complete as possible on, basically on your application. And we provided the ability to upload up to 3 files if you do need to provide additional files, documents in order to support your application. And here we've just included a few other pointers to help you kind of navigate through the process. But at the end of the day, it is really about elaborating and help to paint an accurate picture of your business so we could better evaluate. If you kind of note on the second point, we do want you to kind of tell us, in terms of, what you're looking to gain, as well as learn from the program. And because we're currently in the planning and designing phases, the more feedback we do get from you, we'll be able to better curate the program to be able to support your needs. And again, we will include our email at the very end of this slide deck. And so if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And here we've just provided a bit of a summary slide highlighting some of those key dates. As mentioned, applications is currently open and will be open until the beginning of December. And then we'll take kind of a couple of weeks right after that for the evaluation period. And you'll be able to expect to hear back if you're invited in for a review panel. In terms of the announcement of the companies that we're accepting into the first cohort, you should expect that to come out in the beginning of the new year. And as Harman alluded to earlier, we'll be officially kicking off the cohort in February of 2020. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I guess to that point, I just kind of to wrap up again, because we're only accepting a few companies to this initial cohort. If you're not successful, we've already talked about it a little bit earlier. We do have a number of other core programs that we offer, so we do encourage everyone to kind of come out and join us at one of our orientations to just kind of learn about the other supports available through the ecosystem. And I guess with that, we'll be able to open up for questions.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So looks like we've gone a couple already. I guess just for everyone's sake, we'll be able to just read it out one by one. Looks like we've answered the first one. And for Pamela's question, we are two co-founders of the business, one of us working full-time on the business, but not on payroll. Can we be eligible?
Yeah, so what we're looking for is definitely someone who has the time to engage and participate in the program. If you're not currently on payroll, that's not a fixed requirement from us. For us, it's more important to know that when we say full time, that you have someone dedicated to working on the business day in and day out.
Yeah, and assuming if you guys are working on this full time, you have the runway, and this will be something that we'll be going into a bit of the specifics during the review panel as well. Kind of what your financial projections are, what's kind of your current cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So could you differentiate between in-pilot and initial market traction in terms of specific metrics and associated numbers, giving an example?
So when we say in pilot or an initial market traction, what we want to see is, do you have any letters of interest to use your product from potential organization or customers? Whether it's one, whether it's two, we just want to see, is there an appetite from your market to actually want to use the product that you're developing, just to further validate that it'll be able to become commercialized. That's it. We're not expecting for you to have 100 customers or 1,000 customers.
Mm-hmm.
All we're looking is for evidence that people do want to use your product. Right?
Yeah, and then you've done enough market research, talked to enough customers, and so even if you kind of come to the program with kind of the target market that you're going after, then our advisors will be able to kind of better work with you and help to define which ones are maybe you kind of the first ones to kind of approach and kind of focus on initially. So that'll be kind of the areas that we'll be able to provide support on.
And then, so while we're still on the topic of letters of interest, there's a question of, can we add additional letters of interest after we apply if we receive more traction after we submit? So I would say that it's okay to send in if any more letters of interest before your review panel. And if you get selected to the review panel, definitely just send them in, because at the end of the day, we want to make it as open as possible for you to get selected, but we just need the right amount of evidence and the right amount of detail, right? Which is why we were saying in your applications, please make sure you provide detail, because the more information our advisors have, the better we are able to conclude who is a good fit for the program.
For sure. So I guess kind of the next question is, will you be accepting applications from different sectors?
Yeah, so I think, so we are focusing on hardware and software solutions, and that essentially kind of keeps it very open for us, because whether you have something that's in the art market, whether you have something that's in clean and renewable energy, if it can fall within a hardware or software, yes. And that goes to, that's the same with advanced manufacturing as well. I know we're very specific when it comes to health and fintech, and that's because our ecosystem is very strong in that type of support. However, we do have the type of support to help with any SaaS or hardware related products or solutions. So if that falls into a sector that wasn't communicated in the webinar or on our webpage, you're more than welcome to ask, but we are open.
Yeah, and for ventureLAB as a regional innovation center, we're quite sector agnostic in that sense. So again, to stress on Harman's point, we do focus on a couple of key sectors because whether it be based on our in-house advisory team as well as the ecosystem around us, we do have a lot of support on focusing on supporting companies in those sectors. But again, this is a continuous thing, and so we're building out a specific kind of network as well as pulling in more partnerships and collaborations specifically for this program as well. And so definitely feel free to put in an application. To answer Aaron's point, we are already a ventureLAB portfolio company already. Are we eligible to apply for this? Most definitely. Again, at the end of the day, it's depending on which program is the most fit, the better fit for you. And we don't see this as kind of it's standalone, right? We would like to think it's more fluid support that we're offering. And so, leveraging for the companies. One of the points Harman has already talked about is about getting you investor ready and helping you to refine your pitch. So our capital investment program is the one that we're focused on kind of supporting companies through connecting you to the right investors. And so if you're at the right stage, we'll be able to provide support and to kind of funnel you into that program as we see fit. And so please feel free to apply.
So we have one that says, does the full-time employee include the founder, or do you need an additional employee in addition to the full-time employee? So essentially what we're saying is we just want a team of two at the minimum. And one of them has to be working on the company full-time, because that's where we see a lot of growth happen for the company and for the product. So if the full-time employee and the founder are one and the same, if it's just one person working on the company, then it gets a little bit difficult. If there's two people, then it just increases your chances. How much time commitment will the program require? So the program, we're roughly saying about 10 hours a month. And that includes your check-ins with your advisors, attending any workshops, attending any one-on-one clinics, and attending the peer groups, right? We understand that at the same time, you guys are working on your own business. We're not trying to be an impediment to that. We're trying to support that. So we do believe that we want to be as flexible as possible, but we also we have to strike a balance between the amount of engagement we need to see, just so that we know that you are progressing, right? So we've averaged it out to about 10 hours a month currently.
And it's about, kind of with a lot of these accelerator programs and incubators is really, putting a specific kind of timeline around it and holding each other accountable to, reaching those milestones. And so, definitely there is a minimum requirement of participation that we're asking for.
Yep. Okay.
So it looks like, okay. Would you list just the 5 cohorts basis, the submitted apps, or is there an intermediate step, meeting with shortlisted firms before finalizing the 5?
Yeah, so as Lisa was talking about the application process, so the first step is everyone's going to apply. We're going to evaluate the applications. And then the intermediate step, yes, is that you will be invited to a review panel. The review panel is an actual pitch in front of our advisors, where we get to further kind of delve into your solution and the problem that you're trying to solve, and trying to determine the feasibility of the business.
Right, exactly. And it just gives you an opportunity to give us a better overview, right? And we've talked about seeing some of the things like a financial projection, but also it's just much more lively when you're conveying what's kind of the core value of your business versus just on paper. And so there will be kind of the two-step.
Yeah, there's definitely the human element where we do want to meet with you. Can a female-led but a later stage larger company with sales apply?
Mhm.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah. And, for this program, I think one of the key things is we are providing a customized kind of growth plan for tailored to each specific company. And so depending on the stage that you come in, the type of support may vary. And so I guess the only thing with some of the later stage companies, they may not need or even need to kind of come out to all of the workshops that we put on, but leverage what you can from the program.
Yep. Okay. Can we apply to both Tech Undivided and Pre-Accelerator Support Program?
So I would just say, like in terms of, specifically for the pre-accelerator support program, you're getting the dedicated advisory service. But in terms of how we've structured the program as well as the organization, the advisor bench kind of goes across the different programs. So you would be accessing the similar advisors. And I would say with Tech Undivided, because we're putting together strategic mentor network with a lot of the industry experts, this program would have a bit more access in terms of industry experts on that front.
Yep. So another question is, what if I'm not a technology company? Can I apply? So the types of support that ventureLAB is going to provide is only geared towards tech companies. So like if you're a company that's not in tech, the support that you'll get from us won't be as impactful, just because the types of people that we engage, the workshops that we put on, and the community that we have around us, it's strictly tech focused. And our vision and our mandate with Tech Undivided is to create an inclusive tech ecosystem. So if you're, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna just add one of the things that we do talk about, because again, at the end of the day, we're one organization within this innovation ecosystem. And so if coming out to an orientation, you'll be able to hear about some of the other partner organizations that we work with, like Markham Small Business Center, a lot of the on-campus accelerators that may be able to provide support to a non-tech company as well. And so if you do have needs, feel free to just reach out to us and we can kind of point you in the right direction.
Okay. How will letters of interest work for a B2C biz? We have had clients asking us to bring the product to market, but that's just our word for now. There isn't anything in writing.
Mm-hmm. So in this case, I would say you wouldn't be asking for letters of interest, right? But that kind of commitment to get the initial orders and how far along, are you guys based on kind of these discussions? And we could definitely kind of go into the specifics. If you like to reach out to us, happy to jump on a call even before you put in an application. You don't have to attach additional documents. It is just provided there for example, we actually just finished our call for the hardware lab. And so for that program specifically, they're attaching kind of technical roadmaps and a lot of those things that may be relevant to support, but maybe for your business, that is not needed.
Mm-hmm. I have a MVP in pilot. Please elaborate on what details we can add to the application to show interest in the product. Since it is just the beginning, are you guys going to look at the number of customers? Anything else? So for an MVP in pilot, I would say definitely focus on trying to give us any sort of evidence you can of the market attraction or the potential market attraction. Generally, when you're trying to tell us the problem that you're trying to solve, I think we can understand, and the advisors will kind of know how big the market opportunity is. But if you have had initial conversations or one-on-ones with people that you believe can be your customers or would be your customers, and you can get any sort of evidence to show that this is not just something that is kind of only in your head, and you know that there are people out there that are willing to use the product, the more is just, it just increases the odds.
Mm-hmm. And to kind of to that point, right, again, because we're running a cohort, receiving a number of applications, the better you're able to make stronger the case, because there are companies that are coming in at later stages. So you may be at a disadvantage compared to some of them, you know, kind of current day. Again, this is a 3.5 year program. And so even if you're not successful in this round, please feel free to kind of apply for future cohorts as well.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Anne. We also believe that this is an awesome program and perfect timing. What kind of workshops will there be? If I have experience running other companies, do I need to take these classes?
Mm-hmm. I think there's something to gain for everyone, right? I think if you're at different stages, you may not need all of the elements. So one of the things is we want to take kind of a holistic approach to really making sure, and all of the companies have their kind of core value prop defined, solid business models. Are you you know, really looking at the markets that are most approachable kind of when you're just starting out your business? But then for the later stage companies, if you're already at the point that you're looking at private investment, then perhaps kind of the pitch refinement workshops would be more benefit to you. And so again, you know, in terms of the program, to Harman's point about flexibility, it is at the end of the day what's most needed for you, and then we're open to kind of getting that feedback as well.
Yep. What is the timeline for future cohorts? If we're not ready to apply or can't show market traction yet, when is the next opportunity? So these are 6-month programs. So after the initial cohort, which ends in July, we'll already start our next cohort right after. We
don't have a specific date as of yet, but it will definitely look at kind of the fall of 2020. So I would say sometime between kind of September, October is the timeline we're looking at.
Yeah. So the idea is 2 cohorts per year. You're welcome, Pamela.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
How often are the cohorts? Yep, there's 2 cohorts per year, and each cohort is 6 months.
Awesome.
And just to confirm, can I apply if I don't have any sales or traction? Yes, we want everyone to apply. If you have sales and traction, it increases your chances. So as much evidence that you can give us in terms of some initial traction or initial sales, or indicators that show that that these things will be ramping up sometime soon and the engagement will increase, it just increases your odds. Thank you, Manu.
I actually don't know if everybody can see the comments, but great to hear about the human element. At the end of the day, it really is about that, right? And to Harman's point about putting together cohort to offer that kind of peer-to-peer support. We hear it is a lonely journey, and many of the advisors that you'll be working with very closely through the programs, they've been entrepreneurs themselves, so they really understand kind of from that aspect. And so we do hope, you know, that program offers that kind of community aspect to kind of support each other in this journey.
Yep. All right. If there aren't any more questions, the only thing that we would like to say is if you have any additional ones, please reach out to us at techundivided@venturelab.ca. At any point during the application process, we are available. And at the same time, if you know of friends or colleagues or other people who would want to engage in this program, whether it's at a mentorship level or a company that wants to apply and be in the cohort, please do share the word, spread the news. because we really want to build a lot of hype for this, guys and girls. So thank you.
Harmon. But yeah, to everybody's point, we have been recording this session, and we'll actually make the slides available to everybody at the session, as well as uploading the webinar to the Tech Undivided page if you do need for reference later on.
Cool. When can we expect a call to be shortlisted? So that should happen between December 1st and December 20th, I think.
Yeah, so actually we are building in kind of like a midway review for kind of the applications we've been getting. So I would say, you know, if you're successful, expect some sort of, whether it be email or call towards the end, like later this month, but we will notify all applicants of their status by mid-December.
Cool.
Awesome.
And with that,
yeah, well, we just wanted to say thank you everyone for taking the time again to join us on the call. Again, if you have any questions, our team will be available, so please feel free to reach out to us.
thank
Thank
you.
you.